Oh, hey, good morning. This is Joe Van Cleave, and welcome to Richmond Park in Albuquerque. And today we are starting a new video series. This time the series is going to be all about manual typewriters. And in case you're not aware, there is this trend of the last few years that people are rediscovering manual typewriters and finding a place for them in their lives. And we're going to explore a little bit about this phenomenon. So stick with me, won't you? Well, so you might be thinking, what about manual typewriters? What's so special about that? Didn't we leave those behind decades ago? Well, it's true. You know, manual typewriters served the office environment for many decades of the 20th century, replaced in the 1960s by electric typewriters, and then in the 1980s, computers began to replace electric typewriters. So when the mechanical typewriters went out of their primary usage mode in the office, sometime in the early 2000s, people started rediscovering them for other purposes. And it really hasn't anything to do with the office environment anymore as much as it has to do with the personal lives of people who enjoy writing, who enjoy mechanical things, and they've found that these typewriters have a place in their life, even though we live in this era of internet, computers, cell phones, and 24/7, 365 communication. So we're going to be exploring some of these themes in this video series. Well, so with manual typewriters, I like to use the analogy that they're very much like shooting mechanical film cameras, in the sense that the ultimate output format for film photography is really paper. It's a paper print. In the case of traditional photography, it's a darkroom silver gelatin print in the case of black and white. With mechanical or manual typewriters, the ultimate output format is paper. It's a printed paper document. It is physical. It is not virtual. It is not electronic. It is physical ink being impressed onto paper. It's a hand-operated printing press, if you will, and it's very portable. This one right here, I can carry with me very easily anywhere I want to go. And it's not really any bigger than a laptop with a charger in a laptop bag, and really not much heavier actually. And so I'm out here in a public park, and I found a way to make manual typewriters part of my life. I write letters with them. I make notes with them. I might type up recipes or other kinds of lists. I write essays, I write blog articles. I put blog articles typewritten, scanned, posted to my blog. And there's a lot of other usage modes for typewriters that you'll find in your life. So typewriters are part of a larger aesthetic of a paper lifestyle. That is, not just having everything on your cell phone or on the cloud, but having some things private and personal, only on paper. Only you have access to it. So there is this issue of privacy with typewriters, that you do have the privacy of a physical printed document that you can choose to share or keep to yourself. Now, when it comes to fitting manual typewriters into your life, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. First of all, you can just have one typewriter, and you can fit a place on it in your desk, in your office or kitchen or wherever, and you can sit in that one spot, and you can use it as a fixed piece of office machinery, if you will, kind of like very much the way typewriters were used in the classic era of the 20th century. But nowadays, with typewriters, manual typewriters being discards often, you'll find used typewriters in thrift stores and charity stores and on eBay and all these other places, and you'll often find pretty good prices on them, well under $100 often, even under $50. And oftentimes they don't need a whole lot of work to get back into good operating order. They need cleaning, degreasing, relubrication, a fresh ribbon. Typically that's all they need. And they're back into good working order, and you'll find yourself noticing once you get a typewriter that you'll soon discover there are other typewriters that might have features or capabilities that your first typewriter doesn't have. For instance, font styles, whether it's a portable like this one or a bigger medium-sized or full-size machine that might be a little better for touch typing and maybe have a few more features. So you'll find yourself collecting typewriters. And then you'll have to worry about where are you going to put them, in the closet, under the bed, on the shelf. But these are all the parts of making typewriters part of our lives in the post-computer era, the internet era, the cell phone era. So people don't just use typewriters by themselves. People like me will go out occasionally into public and type in public. It's not always a good idea to type in a coffee shop, especially if your machine, like a lot of portables like this Brother here, can be rather noisy. But you can go out in public anyways, parks or whatever. With a portable machine like this, you can go a lot of places. I've taken one of my portables to the beach in California and sat on a beach chair right by the ocean and typed. I did that for 2 or 3 vacations. And so these manual typewriters don't need electricity. You can go to the cabin or the lake and you don't need to worry about batteries and plugging in and recharging. They just work wherever you want them. So people use them out and about. I've known people who put typewriters on the backs of bicycles and go riding around on their bicycle and stop and type. And so also, though, people not only type by themselves, but there are gatherings now that are starting to happen around the country. They call them type-ins, where people will organize an event at a public venue like a bar or restaurant, and they'll bring typewriters and they'll have typing contests and they'll trade ephemera and they'll try out each other's typewriters, and it's all kind of a big typewriter get-together. So there's an enthusiasm for having a standalone, self-sufficient device that does one thing only and does it well. And so I hope you stick with me on this video series when we explore further the world of manual typewriters. This is Joe Van Cleave. Have a good day.